We go now on a busy afternoon. Let's talk to Matt in Virginia on Virginia Tech, I believe. Matthew, good afternoon. How are you today, pal? What's going on?
I'm doing great, Doggy. Best time of the year, basketball and baseball coming up. And Virginia Tech grad, still live in Blacksburg, and I know this isn't resonating much nationally, but second straight year we'll be going to the tournament. First time we've done that since the 80s. And if you're looking for a coach to get on, I know you had him on last year.
Well, he's good. Buzz Williams does a nice job.
He's great.
Yeah, very good. And Virginia Tech could go basically 0 for the next 10. They won at Virginia, and that alone is going to get them in the NCAA tournament. You're 100% right. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I heard you talking to Dick Vitale yesterday. He was talking about how the coaches are more buttoned up these days. They don't give you much. Buzz he'll give you everything. I don't know if you ever heard him at halftime before, but sometimes he goes so long that they need to cut him off because he just loves to break everything down, and he's a great interview. And I know you talked to him last year. I'd love to hear you talk to him again sometime.
Yeah, we'll see if we can track him down and maybe get him up. Good job there with Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech is going to be in the NCAA tournament. If you're looking at Virginia, because again, when you go out there and you knock off who they knocked off, and that is, of course, the Virginia. First off, they finished 21-11. And they won at Virginia. That basically is all you need to know. As far as the rest of the ACC schedule, now they lost to Virginia by 26 at home, but they made up for it. I'm trying to think if they got another good win. Let's take a look. Yeah, they beat North Carolina by 11. They beat NC State, won at Virginia in overtime. They also beat Duke. I mean, they beat Clemson. They beat Duke by a point. I mean, they beat Miami. I mean, they're in, so you can write that down. They had a bad loss the other day, blowing a 21-point lead, but they are in the NCAAs. Write it down. Here's Corey in Kingston, New York, and he's aboard. He's on Mad Dog Unleashed. Corey, good afternoon. Your turn. How are you today, pal?
I'm doing well. How are you?
All right, Corey, nice to have you with us. What's on your mind now? Let me hear.
So you talked about Middle Tennessee being a bubble team.
Yes.
The past few years, you've had bubble teams that I feel had a little stronger strength of schedule with better wins, like a Monmouth the past few years.
Well, Monmouth got screwed. Monmouth, 2 years. Good job on your part, Corey. Monmouth got killed 2 years ago. They should have made it. You're right. Go ahead.
And I just feel that their out-of-conference wins, they had a few this year, but, I mean, they didn't beat the Power 5 conference schools like the USC or Miami, that I feel if they had one of those two wins, you probably could put them in.
It's a fair point. Now, we're going to go through that with you, and this is going to be I'll tell you right now, you can write it down. They were 16-2 and 24-7. This is going to be a major story over the weekend about from a college basketball perspective, if you care. Now, I'm going to we'll look at this together, and we see what we think, all right? And you tell me if you think this is good enough. I'm just going to they lost to Belmont, which is bad. They did beat Florida Gulf Coast. They beat them twice. They beat Vanderbilt, no big deal. They beat Tennessee. They beat Ole Miss, no big deal. They lost to Auburn at Auburn, 76-70. They beat Princeton, no big deal. They lost at USC, 89. I don't know if it was at USC. It was in Hawaii. They lost 89-84. They lost to Miami in Hawaii, 84 on Christmas Day, 84-81. Outside of that, you're right. They didn't do they played everybody in their conference. So their strength is they played 3 or 4 good teams tight. You don't think that's going to be good enough to get them in?
I mean, it's not winning.
It's not winning is correct.
Tight games.
Yep.
Tight games can only get you so far. It's like shoulda, woulda, coulda.
So in other words, you'd rather take the 8th place team in a particular conference, whoever that might be, over a team that was 24-7 in a one-bid league that played pretty well?
It's tough to say. If there was a star player on that Middle Tennessee that you could see going on to being a potential draft pick in the NBA, by all means, take that Middle Tennessee. But I'd like to see somebody that's Power 5 conference player that has an NBA potential.
Yeah, but you can't. Yeah, but you know,
build them to the Sweet 16.
Yeah, Corey, that's what you and I want to see. But they're not going to make that decision based on who's on the team, what kind of player. You know, Ben Simmons never played in the NCAA tournament. They are not going to make that decision based on that. They're going to try to do it based on team and body of work. Now, 24-7, 16-2. 3 good losses, against good opponents, all in the NCAA. Do you want to put them in a tournament? Now, I'll tell you one thing they did that is odd. They lost their last regular season game when they had already clinched. I can see who that was against. Who they already clinched their conference championship. All right, so they win the regular. They won 16-2. So they played at. Let me tell you where it was exactly. They played. So I was watching this last night. I was watching Lenardi, who does a good job with this. They played last Saturday at home to Marshall, and they're ranked at the time. And they lost 76-67, and they rested a couple of players because, maybe nursing some bumps and bruises. And, it's almost like they threw the game away and didn't take it that seriously. Now, as it turns out, they were in pretty good shape. But they did not go crazy, and they lost by 9. And, maybe that's going to come back to bury them. Eric in Pittsburgh on Tiger. Eric, your turn. How are you today, pal?
Doggy, I'm doing great. I got a great call from my pro at the club, and my new driver will be in next week, so I'm pretty excited about that.
You might be able to play in the middle of July after all the snow, but go ahead.
Yeah, not too bad. That WGC, that knockout, that's top 64 player. So yeah, even if he wins, he's going to be.
Well, how about if he won next? How about if he won next week too? Because he goes to 76.
Well, yeah, if he wins 2 in a row, then of course. But like you said, I don't think he's going to put himself through that. That's a little much for him with the schedule getting ready for Augusta. And you know what, Doug, is in reference to Corey Connors, he did play well in the Farmers Insurance this year. He's a young kid, but. By Saturday afternoon, he's going to play his way out of that, knowing Tiger's behind him. So let's not really worry about him.
Now, remember, Connors is playing for something, too, because if he wins a tournament, he automatically qualifies for Augusta.
In the Masters. Yeah, exactly. Just something on Tiger today. I tell you what, Doggy, his accuracy off the tee was great. Here's my point to you on how this sets up really, really well for him for the weekend. He got to go off yesterday in the afternoon and then got to go off this morning, which – today was the day he needed to make the chores that he made, because now he has a nice evening to rest. He's got time to go work on his game, and he doesn't have to play again Saturday until late afternoon, and probably Sunday till late afternoon.
Yeah, good point. He gets almost 36 hours off. That's a very good point.
Yes, and I think today that's exactly what he had to do. The scoring conditions were perfect. He went out. He had it to 5 under, and like you said, he missed a 5-footer, but he's been so consistent. His short game has been so good, and something that's underrated, his sand game has been so good the last 2 weeks. You could tell he's really been working on that. So I think it sets up really well for him. I think down the stretch, Saturday and Sunday, Doggy, and golf's in a great spot right now with him. They had to put 2 new parking lots in at the Valspar. You were right. He's never played this event.
Already had to put 2 new parking lots in just because he was playing in it, huh? I didn't know that.
Because he committed, yeah. So... it's a Tiger effect, but it is great for the game, and I just want to see how these younger guys react Saturday and Sunday, knowing that he's within a few shots of him like that, back in the day.
We want to see how Tiger reacts, Eric, with a chance to win. Let's not forget about that, too. It's been a long time. 19 in front of the hour. Coming back, Mad Dog Unleashed.